What's up, guys? Welcome to our lovely podcast where we talk highly of everything we watch.
Totally.
We didn't just talk about Halo, one of the best shows of the season.
10 only.
But we decided to watch. This is one of the shows that was nominated, movies that was nominated for best animated movie.
Yeah.
In
the anime categories.
Yeah, in different anime awards. Yeah.
Not
in the Oscars.
Was this not Oscar worthy, Bob?
Not Oscar worthy.
So I'm Forrest Bob.
You already know.
No one gives a shit. But either way, we watched The Tunnel of Summer, The Exit to Goodbyes, which came out technically in 2022, but probably released in the U.S. in 2023. That's probably why I think.
Damn, we're like 2 years behind.
yeah. Well, about 1 year probably.
Created or animated by Studio Clap.
That intro for the fucking movie.
We watched the fucking clap scene about 30 times.
Yeah, we did.
We couldn't get the stupid thing to work.
The subtitles wouldn't come out.
Where do we? High Dive. We gotta talk again. It's been a while. I've really liked you.
You were doing really great.
You were on the other side, bro. But
So we gotta talk real quick. Why do when I download things, why is it just put it in the quickest download order? So if I download 1 through 10, it'll be like 1, 3, 7, 4, and 2. Fuck that. And why can't I click my subtitle button if I'm streaming it to the TV? Anyway, you've been doing pretty good. Thank you for coming by again. This is our monthly topic of maybe
they're like, you have to download our app, bro. You just stream it over my phone.
I would also like to say one other thing. You are doing better than Hulu.
Yes.
Even the ads on on other things, Hulu, your ads are way too long, man. There's like fucking 5 ads for like 3 minutes. No.
Oh,
Just not like other things. It's like these ads are long, but back to the important case of the movie. I got over on my shitting on every app.
So it's about a high school kid, I think.
Yeah, most likely.
I think they're high schoolers.
Yeah,
sure.
they're high school age. Introverted kid, I guess.
Tragic backstory.
His sister's dead.
Yep. His dad's
an alcoholic
because his sister's dead
and blames him for the death of his sister.
Be fair,
was it
his fault? He didn't take her out.
It's related, but not his fault.
Not like it's not like he pushed his sister and she died. Right?
It's like, go get me that coffee from down the street, and then you got hit by a car.
Yeah.
You're like, if I didn't want the coffee, maybe he wouldn't have died.
Yeah, it's the hindsight guilt, right? More than
survivor's guilt, basically.
Survivor's guilt more than immediate guilt.
Because they don't explain it until later on. She dies from falling out of a tree to get a bug.
Yeah.
He liked.
So he's obviously an introverted kid because trauma, right?
Staunted.
He's just a haunted kid. Kind of coasts, listens to music on his Walkman. Very, very Shinji vibes.
That's right. This is taking place in 2005. Yeah. I think, right?
Yes.
2005.
2005.
Would have been better if you had the Walkman with the record, way more cooler.
So very, very Shinji vibes.
Yeah,
He's got them Shinji vibes at the beginning.
Shitty parents, no siblings.
Shitty parent.
Where's your mom? Oh yeah, your mom left them after the sister died.
Yeah.
That's right.
So the very, very standard sad boy times.
Yeah.
So then obviously he meets his counterpart, right?
Sad girl
that just moved here.
That just moved in.
That's also a dick.
Or I think it's your stereotypical aloof girl from like the city that comes in.
Yeah, but your Shinji meeting Rei.
Yep, self-imposed outcast.
No,
she's like a mixture of Rei and Asuka.
Yeah, she's Rei quiet, but Asuka feisty.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, I can see that.
And then when she gets talkative, she just becomes Asuka.
Yeah.
And then obviously the whole premise of this movie is them being brought together by the discovery of a supernatural
magic tunnel.
What I'd like to call it, the vagina cave.
Yes.
Secret tunnel.
Brought together by this supernatural phenomenon that I guess has the possibility of either A, granting wishes, or B, bringing back lost things, including the dead.
Maybe. We're still unsure about that.
Not sure about that.
Never made it that far.
It's an urban myth. So everyone knows about this, allegedly.
This famous tunnel that you can find on the
And
maps.
he stumbled upon it by almost dying.
Yep.
You almost got isekai'd by a
By a
train.
Because he's going on a sad boy walk.
Yeah, you know, on the middle of the train tracks, as you do when you're sad.
As you do when you're sad.
I remember doing that back in my day.
And it made
you
him
know.
secretly discover this tunnel, right?
Yeah.
And then he walks into this tunnel. He finds a bird that allegedly died. He finds his
It was
sister.
his bird.
It was his bird, yes.
Yeah.
He finds
Sister
a
shoe.
a sister shoe. And that starts this whole
And then he goes back, and he's been gone for 3 days.
week.
No, a week.
A week.
He's been gone for a week.
Yeah, it was a
He
week.
goes back home with his bird and his dad shoe. And then the dad shows up like, don't ever run away again. I'm like, bro, I was going for like a couple hours. Like, no.
You're gone for a week.
For a week. I'm like, what?
And then the things ensue, right? Obviously, because this is very much like every movie like this. I mean, this is how I feel like most of these kind of like drama anime movies work.
Yeah.
You have either one sad character or two sad characters that are brought together by supernatural phenomena.
One is always a transfer student.
Yeah.
So it has to be.
Doesn't have family, lives in their
it's
own
either-
house.
That's right.
Because it's always a person from the place meets a person from outside the place.
Yeah.
Is brought together by supernatural phenomenon.
All they needed
Yeah.
to hit the other check mark is have her be like a foreigner.
Yeah.
They've hit all the check marks
Yeah.
of
You know,
stereotypical anime.
Yeah.
Stereotypical, you don't have parents or your parents work abroad.
Yeah.
And you live by yourself in this apartment.
And I mean, even more specifically, even outside of like anime logic, because there's different genres within anime and each one functions under different rules. But under just like this certain type of anime film, right? Whether this is just like your standard Makoto Shinkai fare now, or like when we watch like the Cat one, or like all these other movies that are
gonna
like
wait?
this is the same, almost the same kind of story in a very similar packaging.
I want to be a Makoto Shinkai movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I did.
But
I couldn't cut it.
I have a worse anime team, artist team, and I got $20 in my pocket.
I got no budget.
I got no budget to do this.
But I can make maybe somewhat of a compelling story.
This is and then that's what it is, right? And always the supernatural phenomenon exists, and its gimmick always is very conveniently in line with what these characters need for character development.
Like the story itself's not bad.
It's not bad. It's not.
It is very, as we said, cookie cutter
It's
drama.
very generic
Yeah.
for that
Yeah.
type of story.
Yes,
Yeah.
the sci-fi drama,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. You're just like, oh, okay, normal kids. Might as well just have them be real sad all the time.
It like these films always have to take place in an area that's like
Middle of nowhere.
well, either middle of nowhere and overly scenic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Has to be the forest, you know.
Where, yeah,
That's Japan.
Well,
in
that's the thing. That's
general,
just Japan
yeah.
in general, because obviously all your folklore stuff comes from the areas outside the city. Right?
You gotta have a montage with the catchy music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's like your name set a precedent that everything else has to follow.
Hey, it works.
I'm not saying it doesn't, right? Like, because there's moments of this movie that scratch the I wish I could see that, right? Or that's pretty,
Yeah.
Or it's the I guess you can call it, what's the word?
Also,
Japan scenery porn.
I also feel like
right?
this show didn't have as much as
No,
you're used to.
it has some.
Like at the sunflower scene was really nice with the train stop,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then I guess the tunnel was cool.
The
Yeah.
fireworks scene was kind of
Oh,
cool.
the fireworks
the
scene was
fireworks
cool.
scene's
Yeah,
great.
You always have to have fireworks.
Yeah,
of course.
it's
Reflecting off the water.
exactly, because it is just it's a cultural touch point.
Yeah.
It's almost like you have to have a Sakura scene in any slice of life, right?
Yeah.
Or romance, because within like even just Japanese visual language, right? They mean things,
Yeah.
right? And so movies like this always have that. If you have any movie dealing with summer, obviously it has to have like cicadas, it has to have a festival, it has to have fireworks, right? Because that's just part of the visual language of being like, oh, we're in Japan.
We're young in Japan
Yeah.
in the summer.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the festival to happen
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
Which
Gotta
is-
hold hands while watching the fireworks.
Because
you know,
that's why every romance from that has that. It's almost like how every romance in the U.S. has to have prom,
Yeah.
or
that makes sense.
or something
Yeah.
like that, right? It's just a cultural touch point that you have to hit.
It's like, you
for
know
that
what
type of
happened,
story. Yeah.
so we're gonna put it in for
Exactly.
you.
And that's fine. And that's fine, and I can understand it. It's just like I feel this movie wants to hit all these touch points, and it does. They're just not very impactful.
It was doing kind of well until like the halfway point, and then it just lost me.
I don't know. There's some parts that, like, I really like the part, obviously, in the beginning where she punched the shit out of that person.
And which is why that
But
part gets clipped to Kingdom Come.
That character also doesn't, like, it shows her character slightly.
Yeah.
But she changes so quickly in the movie that her quietness, demeanor, you don't feel that from her ever again.
She just needed to meet the right person, you know?
Yeah. But then it's like, you also got the girl who got punched. You see her one more time, apologize.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, it's supposed to be character development shown in montage form.
Yeah, but I thought maybe she would help at some point. Nah, she's just like, hey, sorry. Bam. Let's do it again. Let's move on.
This is how they met. It was raining. He lends her an umbrella. And she's like, oh, I'll give it back to you whenever I see you. They happen to go to the same school because she just transferred. And then one day she follows him into the tunnel. And you're like, what are you doing here? What is this place? And I'm like, whoa, what are you doing here? Blah, blah, blah.
Fuck out.
Well, he's gone for a week, and then she's like, something sus.
I'm going to follow him.
Yeah.
Maybe some sex cult over here.
Something's sus. Something's not right.
And then they're like, wow, for science, let's investigate this tunnel.
Yeah, which
And that's how they become friends.
somewhat makes sense. They do a lot of investigating for a very obvious, like, it don't work if I go in there and time go fast. So you're just like,
My
okay.
phone don't work if I walked here for 3 minutes.
Yeah, I thought there's gonna be like some weird things because later on there's the one scene where she's walking in circles, like, you know, where the boundary of time kind of like breaks.
You can see it.
Yeah, and she can see him turning slowly, move, blah, blah, blah. But what would have been interesting would have been like her stepping forward into that boundary, past the boundary, to touch him and go back. Like, would time have sped up so fast that...
It didn't explain.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
I feel like there's like stuff that they tried to touch on,
Yeah.
and then they didn't explain things good enough. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's always the weird thing to me.
Like text didn't go through. Blah,
Yeah,
blah,
when you
blah.
look at like, especially when you look at something like this with the supernatural phenomenon, right? Where the movie kind of wants it to make sense when something like that isn't supposed to.
Yeah.
Okay, I realized why all that stuff was happening. It's a short movie. It's only an hour 20.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of it was padding.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It felt a lot longer, though.
Yeah, because I was like, maybe it was like hour 40, but it's hour 20.
I did feel like it was pretty short because I felt like it hit beats, or it had to speed up to beats because it had to hit those beats with only being like, you know, like a 90-minute movie or whatever. Right?
There was part there. That's why I don't understand why the beginning felt so rushed with her. Just, she comes into school, she's an asshole. Now they're best friends.
Now we're best friends.
After a cheeky montage, they're best friends.
Yeah. Well, even then, there was like a whole weird in between that they weren't best friends before the montage. Like, there's a lot of time before that montage, but they're still friends.
Yeah.
Shit was happening, but it was just like, I don't know. It just felt rushed. And then all the montage and them figuring out shit felt slow.
Okay.
What I would have done personally is probably drew out more character development in the beginning. And got rid of
the fucking tunnel.
Yeah, rush the montage. Like, you don't need to
Yeah.
add all the montage of time shit.
I don't need the science, dude.
Yeah.
It's
Like-
a sci-fi movie.
Like, you could have showed, you do this fast forward shit. You get her the manga, and then you can explain her being a writer longer, maybe more about his side story and what happened to.
Yeah, that shit was rushed as fuck because he wanted to get his sister back.
Yeah.
So he could have his family back because he feels like, you know, his sister dying, broke up his parents, and now he has a shitty family. And then she just wanted a manga.
Well, no, what she wanted was to be able to create stuff to be guaranteed, like, to be not famous, but to be able to put herself out there.
Yeah.
She didn't want the manga back. She just didn't have the courage to.
Oh, I thought she
Develop
wanted
the
that
manga.
specific manuscript because her dad broke it up. Because she's like, you're not gonna be like your grandparents.
Yeah, but-
because he's a loser and he was broken and she never got it back.
But she also wanted other talent farther into
Oh,
it.
from the tunnel.
Yeah, because that's why she wanted to go back, like for other
that
things
was
too.
that was her wish. Her wish was to be special.
Yeah.
Because like every creative, you feel like you're shit.
That's
And
that's-
anything you make,
It is true.
That's a very
Yeah.
teenage dream.
Our art is garbage.
I want to be special.
yeah, exactly, right. So it's just every teenager.
Shit on yourself. You're an artist. You hate everything you do, but that one guy, really good.
Yeah,
So,
and you hope that someone likes your stuff or whatever, since the fear that no one's ever gonna like it and stuff. And that's what she has, right?
Yeah.
that is her like driving motive. And
Basic
then,
artist.
and then his driving motive is like, so my family's been shit since life's been shit since my sister's
so if I
died.
bring my kid back,
So if I bring my sister back, it'll fix things.
Yeah.
It's very deep. You're like,
Don't think
very
about
heavy.
don't think about how we're gonna get her back into the system, where she went,
No,
and her burying
no
her.
kid thinks of this, right?
No, I know.
No, obviously, no person thinks of this, especially with their trauma. It's like you just want to fix it,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I don't think they ever explained it. You know, when they're losing time.
Yeah.
Does he age? Did people age in
No,
there?
I don't think so. Because I think
I don't think he aged.
I think the tunnel works on the
That time is your time you've used.
works on like the black hole principle,
Yeah.
right? So
The 2 minutes you were in there was 10 years out here, but you only aged
Yes,
2 minutes.
exactly.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
That's what I guessed.
Yes.
But like, I felt like if they're gonna do like research, that's a very important research. I feel like time moving and you not aging is
Yeah.
very key to life. Because, you know, with it happening later on, with a lot of time wasted, there would have been more consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she explains her whole thing with her grandpa and her manga or whatever, and then he reads it. And he's like, "Well, it's pretty good. Can I read it again?" And she's like, "Oh my god, you like it? Ooh."
Yeah.
Now we fuck.
And now he goes home, and her dad's like with some bitch, and he's like, "This is your new mom. We're gonna get married." So he's like, "What?"
I think it's also
That also never made sense to me. I felt so rushed. I don't even know who that was. This dumb bitch comes in and is like, "Yeah, we're getting married tomorrow." You're like,
Yeah, I know it's rushed, but we gotta do it.
It exists
to drive
solely
him.
to drive him to do
It's
what
a-
he does after.
it's a plot
It's a plot device.
we have an hour and a half of a movie.
It's not character driven. It is merely a plot device.
The movie's an hour and a half, and there's montages we could have cut for this important information.
Not even an hour and a half. I guess. But yeah, after that, he gets triggered. He's like, "I'm not going to this tunnel myself."
Because it makes sense for the dad to move on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
As an adult, right?
To
It's
be
been like
fair,
8 years or something.
yeah. To be fair, I thought he would have moved on a little bit earlier. I understand it's key family, key moments.
Yeah.
It's very important.
It's all Japan, so
It's also Japan, but it's like it felt like his character was so fucking tied up to this issue
Yeah.
that in the fucking I don't know month that they were in the tunnel, that like the whole movie, he fucking flipped like that.
I feel like
Because there never showed any signs he was moving on.
Yeah.
He was having family. It
was
just
just
felt
an
like
alcoholic.
he's like, "Fuck you, you did this." And then next
bring
time,
her
like,
back, bring her back.
Next episode, next fucking 10 minutes, they're like,
Like-
"Yo, look at this new wife, dude.
Yeah.
You'll love him."
because I do feel like even if it wasn't explicitly shown, I do feel like it would have been nice to see hints of his household, his household changing,
Yeah.
as he is changing,
Yeah.
because he is right. This other girl is making him kind of forget about the
He's moving on.
Yeah, he's moving on in his own way.
Yeah.
He's using this phenomenon to move on and her to move on.
Because there's no sign of it. And it's also, you know how there's no sign at
Yeah.
all? Because she goes, "Oh, who dat?
Because
My son."
because I feel like
didn't tell me you had a son.
because I feel like it would have been more impactful to the audience, because I understand the idea of it being whiplash to the character,
Yeah.
because he's so blindsided by
Yeah.
what he's doing, he doesn't notice. But if the audience noticed,
Yeah.
I think it would have built better tension to that moment.
Yeah.
So then you are just waiting for the moment that he finds out. So when he finds out, it hits harder.
Yeah, because It was
Came out of
whiplash.
nowhere.
It was whiplash for him, and it was whiplash for him, and it was whiplash for me.
What the fuck is this?
Yeah, when she was talking, I'm like, oh, maybe he's starting to move on. That's what my thought was.
Like,
Like,
they
oh,
were
he
starting
got a
dating.
girlfriend.
Yeah.
Good for this man. He's moving on. He's a
exactly.
dick. He's an asshole. Fuck him. He's moving on.
Yeah, he's moving
Make a
on.
deal with
He's
this.
trying to be a better person. Yeah.
But no, it's just like, yeah, I moved on so fast.
I mean,
I didn't know.
maybe it was a mistranslation. I don't know.
I don't think it was.
We were just like, yeah, we're getting married tomorrow. I'm like, what?
Well,
Because they talked about moving to Tokyo.
Yeah, oh yeah, because he got a new job
yeah,
and shit.
and that's what pushes him to like speed up the timeline.
Yeah.
I wonder how that affected his plans. And like, my son fucking disappeared. He's been gone for years. Anyway.
Well, I think he was doing whatever he
Well,
was doing.
because he tells the girl he ran away, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like he doesn't have a history of doing
running
so.
away, yeah.
So he's just like, oh, he did it again. Whoop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd argue after like a year,
He's
it's
just
a little
he's
bit
gone.
different.
Yeah.
Like a week
So
ago.
after
that
this
guy's
incident,
fucking,
he goes into the tunnel for many years.
Yeah. For like 8 years. Well, I think
I
it's
don't,
almost like 10 by
I
then.
don't know how long he was in there. Not in the outside world, but like in time in the tunnel.
Well,
It's
Like a
5.
few hours.
well, it never says because the last time he checks the clock
Was before he
he's like,
falls.
He's like before he finds his sister, he's like 14 hours in or something like that.
14
Or
hours.
like
yeah,
14
yeah.
minutes.
I think it's
or-
minutes. Because it's like the scale is very high. It's like per minute, like almost like months.
It's like 10 seconds is one.
But I know when he
week.
checked, he said he was already like 4 years in
yeah.
before he finds the door where his sister is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And like all of these stories, you know, he meets the dead person. The dead person is like, "You fucked up. You should have just lived."
This is fucking dumb, bro. The sister's like, bro, I thought you had some bitch outside. And like, I do. Yeah, what are you doing here? Like, you right. And I was like, you stupid motherfucker.
But that's the thing, right? Because that is always how these stories work.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Always. I mean, the because this is hitting like the very bare minimum of what you read a character is supposed to do.
Yeah.
And he just does those things, right? Because like the character, every character, right? If you read any fucking character theory, whatever, is supposed to have a want and a need. His need is to move on from this tragedy. His want, provided by the supernatural phenomenon, is to revive his sister because that's what he thinks will fulfill his need. When it's not. Obviously, this girl is the person that's going to do that and help him do so. And then his want is going to tell him that he fucked up and he missed his need, right?
It was so much funnier if she didn't wait 14
Yeah.
for 14 years.
It's gonna be,
Like,
it's
I'm
gonna-
married.
It's gonna be erased.
Well,
yeah.
I think that's how it. What the ending should have either been is she ran in after him once realizing he ran in. That's what I thought it was going to be like. They find each other in the middle of it. They lost 8 years because she dragged him out. Blah blah blah. Or it was going to be she moved on. Now he's just fucked.
Yeah.
No, he's still a teenager.
Yeah. Or I don't know. There could have been fucking 100 other things you could have done.
Yeah.
It felt like in this because it also showing her montage of her being depressed through this whole time as a mangaka, and it's like there's nothing I felt like that came out for her positively.
No.
Like she became a manga artist. Good for her. She hates life.
I think about you every day. I'm like, what?
It's like now cat sucks. Let's move on.
It's very melodramatic.
And then I also think it's stupid. Like she goes, like she gets the text message. She goes, "Oh shit!" He remembers. She goes running for him. He tripped and fell and knocked himself out. Because great,
More
great device.
Yeah.
Boy, I love that.
He tripped on what?
that I'm thinking about it right now. You know what this feels like to me? It feels like it was written by a teenager on Teenager Logic. Is
Probably.
is what this feels like to me, right? Like,
Yeah.
because even the way like the adults do things, which there's not there for very often, but like the way they're portrayed, or the way like she's hung up on this like for 13 years past that, right? Feels very, and like the whole melodrama of it feels like fueled by teenage hormones.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think this is a movie for teenagers because it probably hits the nail right. It's like this is relatable. We're adults now. It's
hashtag deep.
Yeah, it's like
hashtag
when you're a teenager, that's your whole world, right?
Yeah.
And that's all that matters. And when you're an adult, you're like, no, I have to worry about some X amount of things. So
yeah, which is why even the with his dad moving on and stuff, it feels so whiplash to the character because the character's like, well, my hormones dictate that my entire life should revolve around this.
Yeah,
and I don't understand how you can move on.
Yeah,
right.
Well, my sister died. Would you just forget
Especially
about
after
it?
you were, a drunk kind of piece of shit dad.
Yeah.
But there's also like he going back, he falls over, right?
Yeah.
And she runs in to, I don't know, put him on his lap because anime logic.
So I'm like, bro, why you just drag him out?
That's why I said, bitch lost fucking her.
Like
she lost 4 years of her life sitting there until he woke up. She lost all she worked up for.
Yeah.
Just to take him out.
Because it runs on teenager logic.
Drag the fucker.
Like she was about to get serialized, and then she just fucking disappears.
It doesn't revolve around like actual thinking adults. It is.
I think the ending would have been so much better if it was just like they woke, he fell over, but he fell over like just before the time or like break, blah blah, dragged him out, or he just didn't lose time. She picks him up, and then they just live happily together without losing an extra 4 years. Because it's not like they lost 4 years; they just lost outside 4 years. He lost 14 years of his life outside.
Yeah, because he was gone 8 years or so.
Yeah, 8
he was
plus
gone 8
the
when she
knockout
went.
time.
Oh, that's right. Plus another
because at the
plus
end
another 5 or whatever.
because at the end they said it was 13.
13 was it 13 or 14?
Fuck,
Whatever the
dude.
number was.
And then she still killed a teenager.
Well, it's weird. I mean, the psychology of people that don't move on for certain things does exist, right?
Yeah.
But it's almost like this event,
like
fucked her brain so hard, right? That like over 8 years she never moved on, right?
Yeah.
If you think about it, 8 years is a long fucking time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a short time, I guess, if you're an adult, right? But from teenage to adult, it is a long time, and it's a long time to like move and do other things, or other things take over, or
But definitely
other people enter your life.
Definitely with like how strong their work system is.
Yeah.
She doesn't have time to think, to be fair. She has time to draw
And to drink.
and to die.
So I don't know, right? So I can understand where something like that stays in the back of your head, right? Because there are traumatic experiences from those years that do stay there, right? And for some people, it does impede some of their forward progress. I mean, that's why therapy exists, right? So, and I can understand where that is and why that's there. It's just interesting that is the route the writer decided to go with it.
Yeah.
In my brain, I'm just like I respect how she feels, right? But at the same time, like, dude, he's not dead.
Yeah.
You know where he is.
Yeah.
You can still go get him.
He's gonna come out eventually.
But the issue with that is the answer could be no, though.
Like,
It could be that he never comes out.
No. He could come out, but you'll be dead.
Yeah.
Like, because how fast time moves there.
Yeah.
Like, to me, what I thought was going to either happen would have been more interesting, too, in my opinion, would have been they both go in to bring a life out. You have to leave a life.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's spicy.
Or like you lose half your lives each, or you've lost so much time outside that bringing all three of you come out. Mm-hmm. But life has changed so much that you are now just not fucked, but you are basically learning everything all over again. Would have been interesting. But the way they did it, I feel like they just missed every beat that they could have done to amplify it.
I feel like
teenage logic.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's teenage logic, but it wants to be like deep. You know what? You know what almost it feels like to me.
It's a Wattpad
you ever see like the fucking like you'll see an image and it's a bunch of words. And it being like, oh, he did this, and then there's some letters that are highlighted and says he lied. That kind of bullshit. That is the energy that I get from this movie.
I don't know, man. There's this.
It is that kind of energy where like there's this thought like, oh, he made the selfish decision to go in, and she waited for him all this time, and he's there, and like somehow her whole life ended up revolving around this moment. And it just feels like it's that logic is driving it.
Dude, that okay. I feel like there could be another a part 2 that would be very interesting. When he comes out, you know, he went in 2005. He came out in 2018, and you're like, "What the fuck, dude? The world is so different."
And then 2 years later, the big C happens.
The big
Dude, he comes out in 2020 and he brings it.
Oh,
I feel like, and to me,
that's a punishment.
I feel like the issue with this,
I don't know.
there is no.
I feel like there's no gain.
Well,
he didn't gain anything.
No, there's no gain or loss in this.
He lost years.
He lost nothing. He lost nothing.
I guess yes, net.
He lost 14 minutes of his life.
Yeah.
That's what he lost.
We'll say. Well, he said
We
14.
could say 14
well, he said 14
hours.
It was like 4 years, right? He lost maybe like half a day,
Yeah. Well, we can say.
or no, like an hour. He lost an hour.
We could say even a whole day. He lost a
wasted an
day.
hour.
Oh no.
Yeah.
14 years went by. He lost a whole day.
She wasted it all.
She lost everything.
Yeah.
She gained nothing.
This is a misogynistic story. She gave
Yeah,
up
kinda.
everything for the dude.
Yeah.
Fuck you,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, that's kind of is. They could- oh, it's not even just like, it's like lonely teenage Japanese dude logic that runs this story.
Incel guy.
Yeah, fucking incel logic.
Because when I was half, I was telling one of you guys, I'm like, well, maybe he's just into older women, so it comes out. Just like a MILF at that point, you know? I don't know.
That is the logic that this runs on, right?
Yeah. Because this almost had the vibe of the Red Blue movie.
Yeah.
It's a little bit.
It had the same quality
Yeah.
too.
But to me, what would have been interesting, because you know how the red, sorry, just register that. The Red Blue movie, forgot the name of it. At least it's in the red one. You know when he goes and meets her at the end because they finally get together after all this time?
Right.
That would have been something interesting here where
Yeah.
she would have been like an old lady, like fucking 100
right.
years, and maybe he falls in love with her daughter
lived,
or whatever.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
like-
She lived life, but then it's like, I remember you. You looked familiar.
familiar.
I don't know who you are.
Yeah. Something like that would have
feel
been
like,
interesting.
I feel like the Red Blue movie has a little bit, even like putting aside the early weird teenage logic, right?
Yeah.
There is a certain level of like catharsis by the end of it, where it's passable,
I guess I should probably.
right? It's okay. This doesn't have that. There's none of that.
It's
There's
like the you I met blah 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 before me, or something like that. But yeah,
like there's none of that here. There's no moment where you like, it pulls a tearjerker on you.
Yeah.
There's none of that. It's just kind of there.
I gain nothing. As the viewer, I gain nothing.
Because at least with we'll take the big example. We'll take the Makoto Shinkai example, right?
Right.
Where the prime example of that is your name, right?
Yeah.
Where your name, there is a little bit of teenage logic that runs in there. I'm not going to say it's not, because that's who it's for, and there is a little bit of that, right?
Yeah.
But it's presented in a way, especially with music choice. I mean, I think music choice does a lot of it.
No, yeah, you're right.
There's a lot of the heavy lifting, but I feel like there's a moment where like it hits you, where you can believe these characters doing something absolutely batshit insane with the raging hormones that they have.
Yeah.
That does hit a part of you that remembers that, and you're like,
well, I remember that.
yeah, and you'll shed a little bit of a tear, right?
But to me, those would have been if she ran in.
Yeah, see that, and I think that
That-
would hit a lot harder. if
To
she
me,
did.
that logic
Yeah.
makes sense. Is she gave up that younger life of hers.
Yes, to run in.
To go
Exactly.
in, to get it, drag him out. Sure, you can lose 14 years
Yeah,
of your life.
but they're
Who
together.
cares? They're together. And then you can have her, the happy ending would have been her arc. At that point would have been the start
Yeah.
of her manga arc.
Yeah.
She's like, this 14 minutes that we spent together, I'm gonna write about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then GG.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she could have made this story, and she could have made bank. But I do feel like that would have been a lot better.
Yeah.
Like he runs in, he sees his sister, and then I guess he goes running out, and she's there.
Yeah.
Like in her younger self, because she ran in after him.
Yeah.
And then they could have this moment.
They lost
Yeah.
a little bit of
Yeah, they can have
time,
this-
not fucking.
because at the
14
end of the
years.
day, what each person, they kind of needed each other more than anything else or whatever they needed and they found exactly what they needed in the tunnel, which
The
was
issue
just each
with
other
what
in
you
the
just
tunnel.
said, I could picture myself watching the movie while you said this stuff. Picture they run in, they hug, they kiss. I would have been, while watching the movie, thinking in my head, like, stop kissing, get the fuck out of the tunnel, you're wasting time. Fuck outside.
But it's passable, right?
No, it is passable.
It's
I'm just
passable.
I'm thinking the words you're saying, me watching it, I'm like, that's what I would be saying right here. Like, get the fuck out.
That's adult brain not working. But for these people where their only
No, I know.
world is now each other,
Yeah.
it works better.
Yeah.
I wish his interaction with his sister would have been more like heartwarming.
Yeah.
Like, I died, but it wasn't your fault, or you shouldn't beat yourself about it. Blah blah blah. Move on.
Yeah.
Or it's kind of more like, bro, what you doing here?
Yeah. But what I would have done for that scene too is it would have been like, he gets here, he's like, they do that scene back and forth, and he realizes like, I got to get out because I'm wasting time.
Yeah.
And then the scene would have been, he grabbed her arm, he starts to run, and she goes,
she's like, nah.
no, this is where I belong. This is what life has been.
Yeah.
We don't need to change.
Yeah,
it.
we don't need to
I'm
change it.
happy
Yeah.
here.
Wherever
Whatever's
that
going
is.
on. I
Yeah.
don't know if she's in heaven
Yeah.
or whatever.
You move on.
Yeah.
Bro.
I've moved on. I'll wait for you.
Yeah,
Until
wherever.
you die, blah blah blah. The usual.
Like you need to live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
We'll
then
be together again.
and then he goes no, and she just fucking vanishes, and then he goes, okay, well, I still gotta get back, and then that would have been more interesting.
It would be interesting. I feel like it'd have been a little bit cheaper because I think he does need to realize in that moment.
Yeah.
Like he needs to realize, not like forcibly realized, but he needs to have that epiphany moment of that other person is what's important to me more than this anymore. And I need to move on. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Because I think that is more impactful than just the sister forcing him to move on.
Then I guess if you want to do it
he
that
needs
way,
to make that choice.
if you want to do it that way, it'd almost
Yeah.
be like, you can take me, but I move at D&D logic. I move slower, so you are losing more time with this person
Yeah.
if you want.
Who
me
is
out.
important to you now?
Damn, this
And who's made
teenage
you
puppy
different?
love was crazy, bro.
I mean, it's standard
Crazy.
anime logic, right?
Teenage, what the fuck, bro? It's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be all right.
You're gonna meet
Besides,
someone else.
besides all those problems, it's not a bad movie.
It's not horrible. And there's moments where I'm like, this is nice. Like
Yeah.
that train, like that train station.
With the sunflower scenes,
I want,
probably the
I want
best
to
scene.
exist. That is nice.
I think it's the prettiest scene.
Or like the fireworks.
The fireworks scene, that was pretty. That was
I think
pretty
that's my
cute.
second favorite.
Yeah.
That was
I
my
do-
favorite. She like reaches over his
Yeah,
hand.
I'm
Yeah.
like, you go, girl.
And then the inner
Yeah.
finger line, that's cute.
I'm like, damn, they fucked her
Yeah,
in.
yeah, dude, that's all I wanted, dude.
Yeah.
Don't even need the kids, dude.
Yeah.
That's lewd.
Like, I'm like, this girl knows what she wants.
Yeah,
Like, this is yeah. You go, girl.
But
Rimmed by a man. Disgusting.
there's just one other thing I want to complain about.
Okay.
I don't know if they had 5 animators on this team, but
They had 3, bro.
I can see why the movie was short.
They have presets in the program.
But God, man, half the scenes were them facing away.
Oh yeah.
The scene where they're talking to each other and they show the reflection of her face,
Speaking of
but there's a leaf
Evangelion.
on her face.
At the same time, it's like, well, it's like the animator's like, okay, let's think about this, right? How we don't want to animate, lips flapping, right? So how do we try to make this as aesthetic as possible without doing this?
There's a show called Evangelion.
That's why
you
the-
just stand still for 20 minutes and
You
then
just
talk.
cover your mouth and then you don't have to animate the mouth.
the birth of the Gendo pose.
Yeah.
I don't know. I said that was probably my biggest pet peeve when I first was watching
Yeah.
the movie. Like, there's no animation. There's like these really beautiful scenes,
Yeah.
and then there's just a lot of just fluff.
That's gonna
in
how I do the
animation.
thumbnail, like homage to Evangelion.
90% of the movie felt like it was focused on one thing, and everything else was blurred constantly.
Yeah.
And
Or it
like,
was just a still shot.
yeah. So it was like, because that's what I would at least gave in the show. Maybe the show was so beautiful
Yeah.
that you can give this, because right now it's a 7 point.
See, their whole budget went into the tunnel scenes and the fireworks.
Tunnel scenes are probably CG. 7.89 on Mal and fucking 7 on IMDb.
It's a little too high, in my opinion, but yeah. That's fine.
with the audience score of 98 on fucking Rotten Tomatoes.
Well,
but that's like it
crazy,
says less
bro.
than 50 people.
Yeah.
So you know you can't really
They
trust
got
like the
bl-
4
they got-
people. Yeah.
They got blinded by the Makoto
Because
Shinkai-esque.
like all those numbers to me,
Veneer.
I'm like, wow, the story might not be great, but maybe the animation carried it. Because that's what like you saw the punch scene. That's a great shot. And we named like 3 or 4 other scenes that were beautiful. But I don't even feel like the animation dragged this movie up. I feel like this movie was pretty flat all the way around.
You know, it was okay until we watched Yamada-kun over right after, and we're like, wow, it looks exactly the same. It is a 10-year-old show.
No, there was more pixels in this show than
there was. There was more.
You put Yamada-kun, I'm like, holy shit.
The animation was smoother.
Yeah.
And the backgrounds were more crisp.
Everything was just as blurry, though.
Yeah. I always think that's funny to me. It's just the cinematic, we're going to mimic bokeh to make it look like that. But you're not supposed to use that, in every shot.
Yeah, but it was like they bokeh'd everything constantly.
No, that's the thing, right? Because there's always, in photography, there's it's always a form of language that is said amongst photographers and cinematographers that you shouldn't rely on the crutch of shooting wide open.
Yeah.
Because that's what provides bokeh in a shot,
yeah.
right? That, sometimes it's okay to stop it down to
But there's
to F8 or something.
But there's just scenes that, like, if you're gonna do that, like the scene where she's sitting on the rock, talking to him, and you can see his face, and he's like solid, like they didn't blur him.
Yeah,
looks very pretty. And then she's in front of him, but it's her legs kicking.
Yeah.
And anytime she was kicking, she was talking basically. But they didn't go like, okay, he's talking, let's keep him crisp.
Yeah.
And then when she talks, blur him, keep the feet crisp. I thought that'd been interesting. I know it's weird to say.
Okay, so part of me, so I know what you're referring to, and I don't mind when it happens once, like the focus.
That was like a fucking 10-minute scene.
I know, I understand, but I'm saying I don't mind when a scene focus breeds like one time, but it going back and forth wouldn't be my favorite. Honestly,
I think it would have been better.
I would have preferred it to be like focused on him, and then you pull out. And you stay pulled out,
Yeah, but he didn't want to pull out, so
yeah,
He didn't.
yeah.
Anyway, what do you rate this movie?
6.
That's pretty high.
So 5 is mid, right?
5 is technically mid. 7 is mid if you're a Mal user.
I mean,
5 to 7 is mid.
5 to 7 is mid.
Like, it wasn't garbage. Well, I wouldn't watch it again.
I
wouldn't recommend
I'll
it
never
either.
watch it again. Well, I'll forget about it, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
who knows how long.
It's like the Red Blue movie. I forgot the name already. It's
I'll
gone.
forget about it. So we'll say 6. I'll agree with Bob. I'll say it's a 6.
You get a 4.
I give it a 5.
Mid.
Just like the movie.
Guaranteed mid.
It's like the movie
Mid.
The Tunnel of Summer and The Exit of Goodbyes. Goodbye, this movie. I'll never watch you again.
Yeah.
Because, fuck, man.
Whoever recommended it online, fuck you.
I do want to look up where people put this in their like movies of the year, but it wasn't my favorite.
No, it was.
No, it was another movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another animated movie.
Yeah.
Another disappointment.
We should watch Deer King, though.
We should watch.
We should also watch the Blues one.
The Blue Jazz or whatever.
Blue
Yeah, that
Jazz,
one looks
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Anything
Next
else but these? We'll watch it while we're driving. 4 hours to
I will
Idaho.
be in Idaho next week.
We'll be at Gem State Comic Con.
This probably won't release until after Gem State Comic Con.
Oh well. Yeah,
We
you're
were
right.
at Gem State Comic
we were there.
Wait until we talk about the Hobbit guy we got to see.
What?
Oh yeah, because Sean Astin's.
Sean Astin's.
Oh,
coming
that's
there.
right.
Yeah, that's right.
We can go say hi and be like, yo, we're on a podcast.
Bro, we can find out our Lord of the Rings podcast?
Yeah.
The
Anyway,
animated version.
we should tell him to watch Free Room because it's Lord of the Rings, but animated. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. If you love this movie, tell us why. If you're like under the age, if you're under the age of 18, I understand why.
Did you think this was hashtag deep?
You say that's me but real, or for me for real.
Me
There
for
you go. Yeah,
real.
me for real. There
Me for
it is.
real.
I'm old man. Sorry. But
Just put that down in the comments.
yeah, tell us what you think of it. If you like anime art, we draw things. We draw faces on like this. So check us out.
Until next time. Peace.